Hi all, hope you're good. We're now having a look at US30 and we are on the monthly chart. Previously I'd spoken about how we have this M structure at that point, which has a neckline at that level. Hence, at this point we're seeing price pushing further down, right? And there is a possibility that price may push to this level and also this level as well. And that is because this level is carrying a lot of liquidity at this point because of this particular candlestick that we have over here, which is a liquidity candlestick. But first, the market needs to, I believe, close below this level, which is a very strong level of support, as well as this level, which is similarly a very strong level of support. Should price close below this level, in my humble opinion, I would wait for price to head back to the level to test it, and I would look for selling opportunities at this point, and my take profit should be this point over here. And at this point we might then potentially see a reversal, right? Anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see on this weekly chart of US30 that we should be paying attention to? I don't see much really, although I will just add a neckline to that M structure. Just bear with me. There we go, right? Let's head down to the weekly chart, right? And here we are on the weekly chart. Let's have a look. Okay, here we are on the weekly chart. So what do we see on the weekly chart? On the weekly chart, previously we had spoken about this W structure at this point, which has a neckline at that point, right? And we saw price breaking the neckline to the upside and then coming back to test the neckline again. And I'd said that we should have been looking for possible opportunity, or rather possible buying opportunities at that level. However, due to fundamentals, in my humble opinion, the neckline was not really able to hold price, and we saw the or rather last week's weekly candle pushing further down to close below that neckline, right? So let's proceed. So in my humble opinion, there was a trap actually where we had a W structure and price closing above that neckline and then coming back to test that neckline and then giving us a bullish confirmation to confirm that the market was getting ready to push up, right? I believe there was a trap because I also believe that because of this W structure, and we all know by now that traders and investors buy on the second leg of that W structure and place their stop losses just below. So it is quite possible that whoever's controlling the market is looking to push it further down to trigger all of those stop losses and then potentially push the market further up, because at this point in time there's a lot of money sitting at this level, right? In the form of stop losses, and as I said, the market may push further down to trigger that liquidity and then only push further up to give us this very nice W structure, right? That's one of the outcomes that we may possibly see. However, having said that, just to go back to the monthly chart, remember on the monthly chart, I spoke about this candlestick over here. It's carrying a lot of liquidity at that point, right? And sooner or later, the market needs to come to this level. It may take 2 weeks, it may take 3 weeks, it may take 6 months, it may take 2 years to 10 years, whatever. But at the end of the day, the market needs to come to this point to trigger all of this liquidity because there's too much money sitting at this level and the market needs to grab it. Anyway, just to go back to the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, is there anything else that we see that we should be paying attention to? The answer is yes. Remember guys that I had also spoken about this candlestick over here, which is a bearish candlestick with a small body and a long lower wick. Some of you may refer to it as a doji, but it's also carrying a lot of liquidity where it ends, right? And not only do I think that the market will come down to grab the liquidity that's sitting down here in the form of stop losses, I believe that it'll also come down to grab the liquidity that's at that point where that doji ends, because there's a lot of money sitting at that point, right? So there is plenty of scope for the market to push further down, in my humble opinion, right? Anyway, I don't see anything further in regards to US30. So what I'll do now is head down to the daily chart, and here we are on the daily chart. Let's see what do we see on the daily chart. Let's have a look. I'm just gonna start off by adding my daily channel. Let's see. So there goes our daily channel, more or less. Right. Let's have a look. There we go. Right. So here we are on the daily chart. So what else do we see on the daily chart that we should be paying attention to? Let's see. So on the weekly chart, I'd spoken about how at this level over here, we have that candle that's carrying all of that liquidity. Similarly, on the daily chart, we also have this one over here. It's also carrying a lot of liquidity at that point. And as I said, guys, there is plenty of scope for the market to move further down. I just want to mark that candlestick as well. Just bear with me. Let's see. In fact, I want to mark both. We have the one at this point, which appears on the weekly chart, and we also have let's see, we also have this one as well. So guys, what I'm doing is gathering evidence for why I believe that the market should move further down, right? I'm not saying that the market will move further down in the way in which I've described. I'm just showing you the possible outcomes, right? We're looking at our environment holistically, and we're gathering evidence for why we should be buying or selling. That's what we're doing at this point in time. Anyway, let's proceed. So what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of US30? Another thing that I see in regards to the daily chart of US30 is that we have this M structure over here, which has a neckline at that point, right? So it is quite possible that the market may push further up, because as you can see, the neckline rather, sorry, has been broken to the bottom side, and we might then potentially see price move further down. So should price come back to this level, we might potentially look for further selling opportunities, and our first take profit, in my humble opinion, should be this level over here, right? And it is quite possible also that this trend line will break, because as I say, there's plenty of liquidity sitting just below all of those levels, right? So what I'm going to do now is just add a neckline to that M structure. There we go, right? There we go. And yeah, so what else do we see? I don't see much really. And remember that also, as much as we have this M structure over here, this level is also a very strong level of resistance, right? Anyway, from here I'm just going to head down to the H4 chart. I'm just going to fix my lines. There we go, more or less. There we go. Right, there we go. Okay, here we are on the H4 chart. So what else do we see on the H4 chart that we should be looking at? At this point, I don't see much really. I don't see much, but what I will do is add my H4 channel as well. Let's see, H4 channel. Just bear with me. There goes the H4 channel. There we go, right? So as I said, guys, in as far as buying or selling opportunities are concerned, at this point I do not see any. However, what I will do is actually wait for price to reach the neckline of this M structure that I spoke about, which is around here, which is also a very strong level of support, sorry, resistance. And at that point I will potentially look for selling opportunities, right? Just to draw it, I'm talking about the let's see, talking about this M structure. It's actually an overextended M structure, guys. It's an overextended M structure. I know it doesn't look like an M structure, but it is an overextended M structure, with this being the first leg of that M structure and this being the second leg of that M structure. It looks like this, more or less. It has a neckline at that point, right? So it's still very much an M structure. Anyway, let's proceed. So as I said, the neckline is at this point, and we can see that the neckline has been broken to the bottom side. And as I said, I will wait for price to reach the neckline, and at the neckline I will most likely look for potential selling opportunities and my take profit. As I've said, just to go back to the daily chart, my first take profit, that is, would be at least this level, because that is where we have that candlestick that's carrying all of that liquidity, right? But as I said, myself, in conclusion, I expect the market to at least reach the levels at this point, because that's where all the stop losses are sitting. Anyway, that's my analysis in regards to US30, and peace out, guys.